Welcome to another edition or another video of Carpool Aftermarket with myself, Mark Field, and Mark Todd, General Manager of Diesel Technic UK and Ireland.
Morning, everyone.
So, the first question for you, Mark, is always the last question that I asked the person sat in that seat to leave. So, my daughter was the very first person, and she said, what music do you listen to in the car? And Louise Baker was saying, well, I listen to Paloma Faith, a bit of Capital, you know, you're from the Birmingham area. And I said, right, you need to leave a question for the next person. And the question that she's left you is, what decade in your life was your favourite decade?
It's tough. It's a tough one, Mark. Tough one. I mean, they've all been pretty good, but I'd have to say the 80s for me, definitely. Growing up, teenager, the music, school, sixth form, even today, you know, the music comes on, you remember it like it was yesterday. So for me, definitely the 80s.
And in your 80s, you were
younger.
So, and I think the question is two-parted actually, because she was saying, was that your 30s or was it your 20s or was it your 30s?
It was late teens for me, 80s. I was
okay.
Yeah, so I'd have been what, 80s. Mid-80s, 15, 16, up to maybe 20. That was a good era for me.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
A good decade to choose. I think a lot of people will choose that.
I don't think there's anything that people don't remember from the 80s. There's always something.
Okay.
You know. Great music, great movies. Still young.
And yeah, good. We can always listen to all that today, really, and go and see people who were stars in the 80s, like Rick Astley, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your life in the motor trade. Starting off,
I think like most people, got in it by accident. I was in retail entertainment before the motor trade. That's all I'm prepared to say on that.
Not much different to what we are now.
And I got in by pure accident, working at a local car motor factor in Goods Inn.
Right, okay.
That was my first job, probably 30 years ago.
Right.
So I've been around the automotive industry for a long time. Thoroughly enjoyed it, but that's how I got started, by pure accident.
Fantastic. And in terms of the roles that you got involved in?
Starting with Goods Inn, and then I moved on to the front counter, parts identification, parts advisor. And then throughout the career, I then went onto the road as a rep, if you like, as a representative, which was great fun. It suited my personality, suited my skill set. I feel like I've been, pretty good with people over the years. And from there, I cut my teeth in motor factoring on the car side and grew from there.
So we always talk about how we bring new people in, but obviously one of the issues is that we don't project ourselves well. Whereas when you think about it, yourself, other people who we spoke about today in our meeting, we all started somewhere.
We did, yeah, and that's it. It's not perceived as being sexy, the automotive industry. It never has been, but the people, the lifestyle, what you do learn, it's a fantastic industry to be in, Mark. I wouldn't want to get out now. People talk jokingly, it's like a roundabout. You get on, you get off, but once you're embedded in automotive, it is for life, unfortunately, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
And it is the people,
100%.
I often think about, when I do the conference and dinner, and I talk to the people, and I take a great sense of pride, and I think it almost sounds a little bit cocky, but it's not. It's kind of saying, well, these are my people, this is my industry. I'm quite protective of it and of everyone in there. But yeah, you're right, it would feel weird to go elsewhere.
It would. I mean, you can take the skills you've learned in automotive and apply them across other industries, but I wouldn't want to, Mark, genuinely. It's, I actually love the industry, and even today in today's meeting, I still recognise people from 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and we still talk. We still, you go to the conferences and you bump into the old, your old colleague that used to be on the road that progressed in their career to now heads of departments or like I have as a GM or an MD, and it's fantastic to see. Mark, genuinely, it's fantastic to see.
Nice that we're all progressing, and nice that we're progressing forward. So that's always a good. Progressing forward is a.
It's positive.
In the sense of we just got to lay the foundations for the next generation, really.
Yeah.
So, and again, you know, we talk about the change that's coming. You would have seen a lot of change from the very beginning to where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, technology across the whole industry is just unbelievable compared to even 10 years, maybe 20 years ago. You know, nowadays everyone's got a laptop or a mobile phone. You get your sales figures instantly. You know your profits, your margins. I mean, I remember working for Hella, and the numbers used to come on a fax machine.
Right, okay.
And it was about 15 pages a day on a fax machine. So things have changed. Technology and vehicles have changed, and I suppose I've been part of that growth. You know, I'm no IT expert, and I'm a technophobe if you ask my kids, genuinely, you know. But it has grown, and it's fantastic. Things are easier. I still think the commercial vehicle industry, we're still a little bit behind.
Yeah.
But we're getting better. We're definitely getting better. Life is, I wouldn't say it's easier, Mark, but you're able to stay in touch in so many different ways nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when you look at our industry, and we are quick to say, oh, you know, we're not as forward thinking as we would like, or whatnot, but actually we have progressed. We have adopted. You know, we're quite resilient as a trade.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know, so I think that's the key.
I think we have adapted. I mean, you know, when you're dealing with people, face-to-face counts, Mark. It's still the most important part of the role, is being visible in front of your customers. That's how you develop a partnership. That's how you move forward.
Yeah.
You know, you have to look somebody in the eye, and if you look somebody in the eye, Mark, in my opinion, you can see if they're being genuine, and it counts.
Do you think that will ever go away?
Never. Not for me. I know you can have Teams meetings or Zoom, or I have to name them all, or Skype, yeah, for legal reasons. But I don't think it will ever go away. You can alleviate some of the time wasting, but face to face still has a massive impact. And I think if you speak to any of our customers, they will say the same.
What's the biggest challenge you're sort of facing at the moment? As general, I guess it's the company challenge. I guess really that you're leading.
The market is tougher now than it's ever been before. It's the same piece of pie that everyone's trying to fight for. But the hardest challenge for us, obviously, we're trying to grow as a business each year on year. That's a given. That's why we're in sales.
Yeah.
But getting the right people on board, Mark, that's been the biggest challenge. Especially, as you mentioned earlier on, the younger generation. Getting people to come and join the automotive aftermarket is tough.
Yeah.
But if you get the right people, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, again, how we attract the people to bring them into the trade, how we reframe our industry. And again, commercial vehicle, and you know, I know that we've got lots of people that are watching our video. We've actually had, if Mark and I are referring back to the past, it's because we've been at a commercial vehicle meeting. Yeah. Well, not just because we're old, but we've been at a meeting today discussing commercial vehicle and the parts aftermarket. And I think that, again, that has to go some, probably more so than passenger car, to get the attention. Yeah. We don't have the as such the appeal of some of the car manufacturer brands. You know. Yeah.
They have a reputation of being, you know, what they are, but that's not always the case. The automotive aftermarket, especially CV, is just as exciting. It's just as fulfilling. There's lots of career opportunities. I've jumped between car, OE, OES, and back to CV aftermarket. So I've had a broad spectrum in my career of the different sectors, and they're all as fun as each other. Yeah.
You have great knowledge there with that across the two sectors. So what does the future look like for yourself? Still enjoying your golf?
I'm enjoying my golf. Yes, I'm getting a little bit better than I was, Mark, if I'm honest. Yeah, golf, a bit of squash.
Says the individual winner of the IAAF 2023 Golf Day.
Yeah, and there are a few other people that think they would call me a bandit for that, and they're probably right. But no, I'm still enjoying golf. I'm playing as often as I can. I'm spending time with my partner. You know, we try and spend as much time away on holiday as we can. I'm fortunate that my children are all grown up. I don't see them as much as I'd like, but they've got their own lives now, which is fantastic. My eldest son is in the automotive industry. He works at a dealership.
Okay.
My youngest son has just got his first apprenticeship, and my daughter, she's working in the care industry as well as in raising a family. So I'm lucky. I've got a little bit of spare time, Mark, which is nice.
How did, if you don't mind me asking, how did he come into the industry?
You know what? I genuinely don't know. I think maybe because it's cars. He was always car mad, always F1 mad, if you like. And I think he likes dealing with people. He's got that personality like me, I suppose. Okay. He went to university. It wasn't for him, and he wanted to work. So and he's doing really well for himself. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, it's always good to see how people find our industry and what they want to do, and if they've got the passion. I've got my daughter who's coming out of school in the next 12 weeks, and it's kind of like, where do we want to go? What do we want to do next? And it's going to be a case of, well, what are you interested in? What's your passion? What do you enjoy doing? And then we'll see, really. And
I think that young market, it's always difficult to know what you really want to do, isn't it? You have to learn, you have to experience. And I think, as we mentioned in the meeting today, automotive has so many sectors, but we just don't shout about it enough.
No, you're right. We need to do more of that, and we talked about it within not just passenger car but commercial vehicle as well. So
yes.
So any other trips this year that you're doing? Anything within the business? Automechanica?
No,
Frankfurt?
not Automechanica. I've got a couple of trips to Germany. I have to present to the board about performance for last year and plans for this year, which is exciting.
Right, okay.
And then we have a review meeting with the board of directors and all the general managers from the sub-series, which is really good fun. You get to learn what's happening in the other territories.
Yeah.
Same
That's
problems.
Always fascinating, though, isn't it? You know, in different markets, because how they approach brands, how they approach the techniques of the sales techniques of your team, and the customers. I always find it fascinating, and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, it's true. And the other things this year, we're looking at doing 2 or 3 regional events with our customers, our partners, to try and get some interaction. We will be at the Road Transport Expo. Yeah. Between 4th, 5th, 6th?
4th and 5th, I think. And then UK Garage and Body Shop event follows on.
That will be the first time for Diesel Technic UK and Ireland that we actually attended a show, which I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Fantastic.
And obviously I'll be onboarding hopefully some new team members in the next few weeks.
Ah, brilliant. And then finally, you've got to leave a question to the next person to sit in that seat.
This is such difficult to put me on a spot of question.
Yeah, Louise found it tough. It's a difficult one to ask.
Question.
But the thing is, I always answer it as well.
So maybe you've got a question I could use, Mark.
No. You've got to come up with something. Come up with something that you can use to the next person about life, career.
Okay.
Going out in the car.
It's so difficult, Mark. Can we come back to that?
No. So I'm going to give you one. So how about something along the lines of something about inspiration? Because again, it's International Women's Day this week, and it's March the 5th as we speak.
How about who was the most influential person in their career?
Brilliant question. Okay. See, I knew you'd make a decision.
Yeah, quickly. Well, I mean, I've been lucky. I've had some great coaches and mentors, Mark, throughout the years. And I look back, and I wouldn't be where I am today without them. So that's the question. Who's been the most influential person in the career to help them drive forward?
No, and that can often be because I'm not actually going to answer that one, but because it can be a number of people.
For me, it is.
Yeah.
They've all given me little bits, and I've taken that on board, and I've utilised it. And even to this day, I still have people I can go back to for help, support.
Yeah.
If I need myself a little bit mentoring and coaching, I can pick the phone up, Mark, and they will be there for me, which is great. And they've influenced my career and helped my career in the end.
So what was the question again?
Which person has been the most influential for them in their career?
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, I'm going to finish off with another caveat.
Go on.
In saying that sometimes that influence can come from a negative, in terms of somebody could be negative, and then they could propel you into being something else. Which happens in a lot of cases, doesn't it?
There have been instances where I've learnt what not to do as well as what to do. So you're absolutely right, Mark. It'll be interesting what this person comes up with who's next.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, mine was an easy question.
Brilliant, Mark. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you for your time, Mark.